All right, 4:50, let's go ahead and start the drainage committee meeting. Let the record reflect that all members are present. Item number one, discuss catch basin and 125 on the park board.
Yes, sir. I have a picture of it. This has been going on for some years and I thought this called by and he said you're looking for it, so I'm doing it.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I went looked at it yesterday. It's a three-way call that's gonna use to build a catch basin. So, I'll put a cost estimate on the next, well, in a couple of weeks, till we catch up. Actually,
After
the guy that's building the catch basin, he's built 6 already, so we're moving pretty good with our catch basin. So it might be something I can maybe put that one on because it's not gonna affect our other drainage projects. But I went to look at it yesterday and I'll give you all a cost estimate at the next meeting.
What about the elevations of the catch basins that was just built? Did you go and check?
I checked the ones on Media Drive that were built. I know the one that was on, at 37, I think it was 20, the one in about Cracker Barrel, we had to go cut it down. We actually went there with a saw and cut it down.
So whenever he's going out there to build,
I've expressed that to him that he needs to bring a transit or do a better job. The only issue sometimes, Mr. Chairman, is that some of the culverts are so high. He wants to leave at least a 2-inch gap above that culvert. So he's gotten now where I've taught him where he can kind of slope those catch basins to where, to the lower side. At first he was building them square where he wasn't sloping them. So it's a work in progress. He's getting better. We stand on top of that.
Right.
But I know you understand your concerns with the.
elevation is.
Yes, sir, I
gonna be
do.
an issue there.
Yes, sir.
Right. So there was, that one, there was another one also, right, Mark?
Yeah.
There was 2 of them.
They did take care of it.
All right.
They're looking at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so Paul, you're gonna check out, 125 Pond, right? All right. No action there. Item number 2, discuss Bayou Tranquil drainage.
So we got this at 182 Vice, Frankville, all knows about it. We do want it on the boat, that's all.
It's actually, and I told Mr. Brewer, I told Mr. Matern, I've got him on the list for once we start generating some more cost estimates. It's 50-foot of culvert, 12-inch culvert with some concrete, but I'll generate a cost estimate in the coming weeks. After
After
we
we
catch up.
catch up some of
But I went to that problem. That drainage, all those camps are mobile homes. They're 4 foot above the ground, so it's not an issue with getting any water in anybody's house. It's not a critical issue. It's just a little water on the concrete, so they can wait. But we generate a cost estimate in the upcoming weeks for those projects. Yes, sir. No action.
No action. Motion to,
Adjourn.
motion by Mr. Mathern, second by Mr. Carter, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any adjourned?
1, 2, 3. We got 3. Let me. We'll call it a 5 o'clock Finance Committee meeting. Let the record reflect all members are present. Item 1, request approval to pay list of bills submitted through March 8, 2024. Motion by Mr. Nakam,
Second.
second by Mr. Carter. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval of amended engagement letter with Eisner Ampner LLP for audit services for 2023.
Yes, if you look at tabby F2, you see the amendment. It's effective March 4th, 2024, where they're gonna amend the engagement letter based on a procedural change for 3A double I. And it talks about bank reconciliations and a new requirement and procedure 13C. It basically covers their procedures as to what they have to do. It doesn't affect the cost or anything at that point.
So moved. Motion approved by Mr. Carter, second by Mr. Alcorn. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval to purchase ULV mosquito sprayer.
Yeah, so I had it budgeted for last year, but with the shortfall we were expecting this year, we didn't put it back in, and we never purchased it last year. So since I didn't put it back in the budget, Ms. Kim said that I would have to come get it approved first.
So is that the budget for this year, 2024?
No, it's not,
No,
that's
that's
what I'm
what he's
asking.
asking. It's not in the budget.
We need it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have forty, right?
Elected for it.
What's that?
We didn't collect yet, but.
Well, yeah, after the first collection, hopefully that'll come in.
Motion to approve.
Is that amount still valid for your estimated?
It's 18,000 something, I just, went up a little
Okay.
bit.
Motion by Mr. Alcorn,
Second.
second by Mr. Mathern. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval to purchase a new engine for backup ULV mosquito sprayer. Amount of $1,000.
So this is for a smaller machine, the engine was, I don't know, it's not working right now, and, they said we can just replace the engine possibly and have it working. Or maybe the wiring, but the engine's about $700, I just rounded up.
And the labor is gonna be done by our maintenance
Yes.
department.
Motion.
Okay, motion by Mr. Mathern,
Second.
second by Mr. Nakam. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed?
Motion to.
Motion carried. I have an item to deviate. The deviation is for, the invoice from the Secretary of State for the Pierpont Bell River Consolidated Drainage District election. Motion to deviate by Mr. Nakam, second by Mr. Mathern. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? All right, we'll deviate. So we have an invoice from the Secretary of State in the amount of $356.01, for the cost of the Consolidated Drainage District, election, that had passed. So, the three jurors that are part of that consolidated, district discussed it, and we'll split that, cost as a drainage allocation, drainage
Motion.
expense from our drainage allocation.
Motion.
Motion by Mr.
Yeah,
Mathern.
yeah.
Second by Mr. Alcorn. All in favor?
Oh, public comment?
I'm sorry. Public comment on this item? Second call, last call. All right, no public comment. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Motion carried. Motion adjourned by Mr. Alcorn, second by Mr. Nakam. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Meeting started, let the record reflect all members are present. Item number one, consider replacement of OEP director position. It's to appoint Mr. Paul LeBlanc as OEP director starting May 1st.
You accept?
Yes, sir.
Motion.
On his, starting salary is 65. But upon completion of training from the Louisiana Emergency Management, recommended by Louisiana Emergency Preparedness Association, with us, any months or just till he completes a
6 month probation.
6 month
6 month
probationary
probation.
period, so at minimum 6 months unless the, not sooner than that. The training takes longer than that, then it would follow the training.
They're not putting a time frame on the training because they may not offer it. They offer it every so often, right?
I didn't have time to look into it. I would think it no longer than a year,
The majority of that training's online.
so it could probably get done in 6 months, which is.
It depends, yeah, should be able to. I did it less than that.
Right, they said everybody's different. They'll have to submit an application for certification and then the board reviews it and issues a certification if it's complete.
Good enough. I'll entertain the motion. Upon completion, to 75 salary.
75.
You got a motion?
Motion by Mr. Ponder, second by Mr.
No, I'm not on it. I'm not on it. I'll second.
Second by Mr. Nakane, all in favor?
All right.
Well, I'm not on either.
I thought you was on it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's not on here, but I get replacement for his position. There's a DV for that, Mike, it's not on there, but.
It does involve, Paul, so I don't think there's really a need to deviate.
Okay, just.
You're not taking any action, right?
Not in that, I
Okay.
just want to,
Motion to
propose,
Sure.
advertise,
No
but for it. So with Paul moving to OEP, I'll make a motion to advertise for his position. Second, we'll get with Kim with the details.
Motion by Mr. Nakane, second by Mr. Ponder, all in favor? Any nays? Motion passed.
Motion adjourned.
Motion adjourned by Mr. Nakane, second by Mr. Blanchard, all in favor? Nays, motion, meeting adjourned.
5:20, we'll go ahead and get started with the Road and Bridge Committee. Let the record reflect that all members are present. 3 items on the agenda. Number 1, update on road overlay program. Sawa.
Yes, our contractor is currently cutting cement in wards 4 and 5 at the moment. He'll proceed that. We're kind of watching the weather tonight to see if he'll be able to finish those tomorrow. If not, he's gonna park the equipment, let the rain go by, and then we'll complete those operations. As far as the paving goes, he's been progressing through those wards. The plan is to move to wards 7, 8, and 9 in approximately 3 weeks. And that, again, that's weather permitting. It depends on how this weather this coming week and what it, what kind of delays it posts. But we're looking to move into wards 7, 8, and 9. So as we get closer, I will be contacting the jurors for those areas so that we can, once again, before we lay any asphalt, confirm, what's on the plans, where, get things painted out, marked out so you all can look at them. But that's where we are. Once we complete those, we're then going to be going back to those areas that need attention. Elaine Street, we discussed earlier, is one of them. We have to come back and we have to build the shoulders on Elaine Street. That's why you see that waviness and so forth. They did no way around it. They did a crappy job with the base layer, but the overall, it is the correct thickness. They just didn't hold a straight line. They did hold a straight line again on the finished layer. But there on the shoulders, we need to build some shoulders to create some stability there so that we can hold that material in place. It's just the nature of the beast where that street is. It's very narrow, so we're trying to get as much width as we can, but it can be fixed and will be fixed.
Where are y'all in Ward 5?
Simmons Road.
Simmons?
Yes, sir.
What is the time frame to get into Ward 6?
Again, with this weather, they should be moving into Ward 6 approximately next week. Depends on how bad what they're projecting this weather blowing through is.
You are getting with the jurors prior to moving in, that way you'll be going.
Yes.
Joseph,
Yes, sir.
Willow between Rowley.
Okay.
They did a spot on Willow. I didn't see that was part of the program.
Okay.
Check that, make sure they ain't.
I'll get with my inspector. We'll go back over the list and he's been out there with them every day, so.
Yeah, I mean, I know, we know we gotta build that road up, and I wanted to add a note too.
Yeah, it's got a slope.
That road has no balkings whatsoever.
Did we ever get a final list of the roads?
Yes,
Did you ever submit that to us?
yes, that was submitted and approved by the jury. I can resubmit it to you.
Yeah.
you
Are we
had a
still
book
doing
with
like a
the-
leader, those culverts on the leader and Seraphim in the back? Is that still?
I believe they are. I don't have the finished list with me. What I'll do is I'll reach out to you and I'll double check them. Take a note right now.
Send the jurors a list.
The list?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll resend the list.
How often does your inspector give you an update?
He usually, 2 or 3 times a week.
Is there any possible
Depends on
way
the
that
critical
you can give
operation.
us an update? Shoot us an email.
Sure. No problem.
Jim, you said, I am looking at Willow. You said between Common and what, sir?
Rowley Road,
Brewley Road?
that was on the original list that was approved. But as a part of Willow, that's graded, that's milled. That might be part of the project too, I don't know.
Yeah.
So just.
I will, we'll I'm gonna double
Double
check
check.
with it. I'm gonna get with my inspector and the contractor tomorrow with all of these questions. And like I said, let me get you some answers.
Cool deal.
And Mike, you said, what was your question about Seraphim?
Seraphim and the leader?
Seraphim and Alita is on here, and is that just consisting of patching and milling and overlaying?
Yeah, they've got some culverts that
that's
that
on
were
this list
changed
right here.
and they've got, I think it was coal mix or something that was just a temporary patch that was put in. We need to come back in. We gotta excavate that, put hot mix in and then smooth it over.
All right, Mr. Joseph, keep us posted.
Yes, sir.
No update, moving number 2, Request approval for quantity of, placement of speed bumps for Lakeview Street, Ward 9, May Street, Ward 1, and Rudy de Beauville, Ward 1.
Okay, so these are all streets we had got approved a couple meetings back. Myron would like to table, Lakeview. He wants to discuss it with the residents first before we put 4 bumps down
Yeah,
there.
you got 5 speed bump, we don't need 5 speed bump down there. So, I want to discuss.
So he wants to discuss it with
You
them.
wanna go back to them? That's
To
fine.
them.
But it's still gonna be approved until we gonna move forward.
Well, we can, yeah,
We're just not gonna
we can
move forward
approve
with
it, we just gotta let you know where we wanted it.
Yeah, where and how many, I'll come back and do that another
Not a problem.
meeting.
Yeah, we don't need 5.
Okay.
But the other 2, I don't know if y'all looked at them, May and Rudaboville. Again, those were approved a couple meetings back.
Right.
And we're just coming for placement. Minimum.
Can I get a motion to, you got something?
Yeah, so have you already met with the residents at the locations of these
No,
placements?
I've never done that. I normally don't.
It's not part of it.
I normally try to put it not next to people that didn't sign off on it. Other than that, I go and mark it and that's about it.
Never had an issue.
No,
Not really.
no. All right, motion to accept this. Can I get a motion in the table?
Yes, well, I don't know, I'm on that.
Before we move forward, I would like for you just to check with Mr. Salva to make sure none of these rules are gonna be, before you put the speed bumps or in the program.
I have a list. I asked them for a list a while back and there are some that we already have speed bumps down. And we're kind of working out who's gonna put them down, how it's gonna work right now.
Mr. Palmville, Beauville, no. May Street, no. What about Lakeview? That's not on the road list, right? Is Lakeview on the road
No.
list? So those streets are good.
Just want to make sure.
I did have a conversation with Mr. Sabwa and the M-Trax, owner that, if speed bumps are removed, per the contract, he is responsible to replacing them. If they are damaged, then we're gonna get with Justin to see how we can go ahead and make sure we match what we already have back down there. So it's within the scope of the contract for him to put them back, if they're able to be put back, if they're not damaged. So just wanted to, I know that was a question that came about last meeting, well, who gonna put them back? Last time we deducted with 50,000, put it back towards the
15
parish.
speed bump, but I
Yeah.
think the cost has went up a
Went
good
up.
bit since.
Correct.
So
So who's gonna bear the cost if they're damaged?
we're
when
gonna
they take them
deduct,
out?
we're gonna deduct.
Okay.
We're gonna deduct. That's what we're gonna do.
It's in the contractor's scope of
Well,
work
they
to remove and replace. If he damages them, if they're damaged prior to him taking them up, he is to point that out to our inspector immediately. That way we can address it with Justin. However, if the speed bump is in good condition and he happens to damage it, and that's kind of what happened last go round, and that's why that money was withheld. At the time, it was approximately $1,000 per speed bump. That has now gone up. That just was the unit price at the time roughly, last year when we did those.
And basically those speed bumps, from the time they were put down, was it, 17, 18? I just can't remember the date. We got some quality stuff that has been down and that is durable. And, we just invested in a good product and we haven't been having
No trouble.
can you say you've been having to go and replace anything since the inception of that? Good, so. All right, last item, request approval of application and quantity and placement for speed bumps for Pine Street, Ward 4, and LaView Street, Ward 1.
So I used to do it in 2 steps. I would come and ask y'all for approval of the application and then I would come back with the quantity.
Did you get a motion for number 2?
2, I don't think you did.
Yeah, we need a motion.
Okay,
Motion.
we're gonna step back to number 2. Can I entertain a motion? Motion by Mr. Mathern,
Second.
second by the chair, Mr. Blanchard, all in favor? All opposed, ayes have it. Number 3, let's roll.
Okay, so yeah, like I said, I used to come and do it in 2 parts. The application get approved first and then the quantity and all. But I figure, since I'm choosing where to go now, since Joseph's office isn't doing it no more, I can just get it all done in one go round.
Okay.
If they meet the qualifications, I'll figure out where they gotta go and then that way I don't have to come back and get it approved a second time.
All in line for Pine Street and
Motion
the
for that.
Got to entertain a motion by Mr. Mathern,
Second.
second by Mr. Blanchard. All in favor?
Uh,
Ayes have it, motion carried. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Diaz, second by Mr. Blanchard. All in favor? Motion adjourn, meeting adjourned.
We'll call a, engineering grants committee meeting to order. Record reflect all members are present. First item, update on project status and funding sources by GIS engineering.
Good evening, Kevin Azar with GIS Engineering. So, status of the funding sources, as you're aware, capital outlays in session right now. So we are working with them on any of the projects that y'all have submitted. So if you have some projects that you, have submitted to capital outlay and wanna push them forward, be sure to get with your, local politician on that. But, funding source wise, that's about it. On the Constant Canal project, I know it's not on the update, but we are getting close to getting started on that. I think, Ms. Frietta has a meeting with OCD to finalize that, and then we'll get moving on that.
All right. Anything else? Any questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next item, update from the grants coordinator, Ms. Crochet.
I have the updates from Infinity and DDG. I left a copy from Infinity in front of y'all. Y'all should have that. Plans and specifications are complete and stand at 100% per Infinity's understanding of the scope. All permit applications to DEQ, LDH in Louisiana, DOTD have been submitted for review and comment. All plans and specifications have been submitted to DEQ for grant scope verification. This is to make sure everything stated in the grant has been addressed in the plans and specifications. Comments received from each agency they were responded to those comments. DEQ has informed once scope verification is complete, advertisement for bids must occur within 30 days.
All right.
From DDG, they expect to have the survey wrapped up this month and have preliminary CAD drawings by mid-April. There are a few items that they need from the police jury in the meantime. They are detailed in the last biweekly progress report presented to Brian and Leroy on the 8th, he believes. They are as follows. 1, direction regarding whether police jury would like to add 3 additional segments to the project scope. Information related to pump stations and their respective pumps. Brian is working through this. The HECRA's model, developed by GIS for police jury's drainage master plan.
I think you got a request for approval to begin a process for the property acquisition for U Virginia Street.
Yes.
Joanne, are y'all working on that stuff that they requesting or?
Yeah, I've been putting together all the pump specifications for each location, try to give them an idea of what the flow is and gallons per minute. What type of engines, horsepower, all the related items.
All right, so I guess I need a motion to start the process for the property acquisition for U Virginia Street.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Mathern,
Second.
second by Mr. Diaz, all in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Anything else?
Yes. Approval of resolution to ratify police jury president, signing the active sale for Plottenville drainage.
You need a motion on that?
Yes,
What changed?
nothing.
What are we
The
ratifying?
sign, the active sale was signed and
What was the amount?
Yeah, 2 amounts. I think they had one for 27,000 and one for 37,000, which was all part of the master drainage
That's 'cause we
plan
did
to
it
acquire
earlier.
the
Correct.
property.
Okay, I got it.
All right. Which request again, one more time? ratify.
Ratifying the signature of the document.
We conducted the sale this afternoon before
Okay.
the meeting. That's all.
Okay. All right, need a motion for that? Motion of, get the jury president to, sign the document for the sale
For Plot Bill Drainage.
for plot bill drainage. Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Leroy, second by Mr. Mathern, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The applications, were submitted for LAGAP and Community Water Enrichment Fund. They were submitted on February 29th, and the Safe Routes to Public Places Program application was also submitted on February 29th. We have a kickoff meeting for Bayou St. Vincent on March 26th.
Where?
Well, I'm sorry, I have one, March 26th. Think it might just be a call.
Okay.
And that's to determine the H&H model, the requirements, and to clarify who the consultant is, if the state's providing the consultant, or if we have to procure the consultant for it. Yes.
Thank
All right,
you.
anything else, Mr. Christie? Thank you.
That's it.
Next item, request approval for president to sign CEA with the Circuit Parish Volunteer Fire Department departments for the issuance of State Homeland Security Program grant funding equipment.
So this was brought before the jury, about a month and a half ago, once that funding became available. This is annual funding that comes to my office. It has to be spent on first response equipment or, first responder type training. It was decided by the police jury it was recommended and approved by the police jury to purchase a 4-gas meter for each of the fire departments. The LEPC also had to approve it, which they did. And the equipment's in, it's underneath the dollar amount where it does not have to be tagged. And I just need, the CEA signed for each fire department. Once the president signs it, then I'll chase down each of the fire chiefs to get their signature and issue that equipment.
Good deal. Motion by Mr. Diaz,
Second.
second by Mr. Mathern, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Long. Next item, request plans and specifications for the Bell Road Drainage Project from Mr. Sabah.
Yes, I'm just trying to see where we are in the
Okay.
design phase.
Well, the original scope that we had agreed on the unit price and to go back to for the back Tigerville Loop and everything, those plans will be completed within the next 2 weeks and delivered to the jury. However, I know you and I have had discussions as to whether you wanted to continue proceeding with that or to change the culverts in the subsequent ditch following the outfall. So we can discuss that if you wish, but that's where we stand right now. on
Right,
the
I had
plans.
basically asked you if what we're doing in the front is actually gonna solve the problem, or do we need to correct the issue in the back? I'm looking
And
for
just
your
looking,
recommendation.
and looking at the profiles on all of the culverts in the front, it looks like once you look at the profile, and I'll send it to you, it does look like a snake. I mean, the culverts change elevation from one to the next, and they are not in a line following to the back. In other words, in order for the water to get to the back, it is having to build up and go over some driveways because the culverts are that much out of alignment, and we're seeing it is pretty significant. I did also ride the entire canal all the way to the back. And while for the most part it is pretty clean, it does need there are some areas where I see some sloughing, as well as there's some buildup of material where, it needs to be cleaned out and let the water go through. The other thing that was noted is that considering all of the inlets coming into it, I do believe that some of those, there are some large, they're boiler vessels that they used for culverts back, and I don't know the exact measurement on them, but I would say they're somewhere in the 60 to 80 inch range. that flow in that canal on the way back. I'm of the opinion, and again, I have to run some drainage calculations for it, but I think we probably need to double the size of that in order to get that water out faster. I would think that would actually overall probably benefit you more in the front. But I can't sit here and tell you that those front culverts don't need to be changed with the severity of the profile that I'm seeing.
Sure, and I understand if, you know, if that's the case, we keep the scope in the front and, you know, I can work with Paul to see if there's an option. I mean, it's a lot easier for us to change the culverts in the field than it is on the right of way.
Yeah.
You know, and on
The only,
road.
the only issue you're gonna run into in those culverts in the field is their size. I mean, they are big. And that's not to say that road and bridge can't handle that. I'm just saying that they are of a significant size. And as I said, where they're 60 to 80 inches, some of them in size, you no doubt could double the size of that. Especially as you get more towards the back and more volume is taken, because in riding that, you can see that there are multiple outlets that come in on the way. Some other things that may benefit the outfall is to actually dig the side canals that branch off to what they call the hot water canal. It goes to the, comes off of the ponds to the left. That outlet is pretty well cleaned. So if we cleaned that lateral and allowed some of the water to go that way, I think it would also give you some relief. But we can discuss all of those, and I'll give you a recommendation on how to move forward, and then you can decide from there what you want to do.
Okay.
Leroy, what side of the road did you talk about the culverts on the front making the snake?
Both, it's
Both sides?
basically both sides of Belrose Lane from the railroad tracks back. And then you have what's called Tigerville Loop that loops around to the back of Avon Road. And it's both sides of that street going all the way.
But so on the outfall ditch from there are 2 span bridges that were put in for the first 2 crossings. But there are several crossings further to the back that are smaller culverts that have never been changed.
Correct.
So it's just a bottleneck in the outfall drainage. So I was concerned about making the improvements in the neighborhood without addressing the bottleneck problem in the canal going to the back.
Improvements in the neighborhood when they do the subsurface drainage,
No.
but that's not gonna improve?
No, that's a different area. This is on the parish portion of the road.
But we'll submit the plans on the scope that we have, and
That's fine.
then at that point, you can decide how you want to prioritize your construction
All right,
funds. If something can
Yeah,
be-
just let me know whenever you're ready to talk about what you found back there, and then we can see, you know, what your estimate would be to review that scope.
Yes, where I was trying to, what we're trying to do is take that profile and see if there are any of those culverts that, can remain in place. But what we're seeing, it's not looking good, as far as that goes.
Yeah, most of those culverts are 48 inch. That I saw in the
No,
back.
no, I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about along the sides of the street.
Oh,
The smaller
I
ones.
understand.
I'm
yes.
trying to see if some of those can remain in place, because they may be in decent shape, and if they're at the proper elevation. The problem we're having is the ones up and downstream that they're literally go up and down.
So
from one
in
driveway to the
the,
next.
in the bid documents, are you gonna have it to where you can have the option to remove certain culverts depending on what that bid price comes back, so that if
Yes.
we have to scope the project down, to
Yes,
stay within
we're-
budget?
We're gonna bid it as a unit price. Basically, you're gonna have a unit price for saw cutting of a driveway if it's concrete or asphalt, or excavating it if it's a limestone driveway, which most of them are. And then you'll have a per linear foot price on the culvert itself. And then you'll be able to adjust your cost accordingly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Update on Ag Center roof project?
Yes, I spoke to the contractor today, and we are still on track to start construction after April 2nd, which was the date we had discussed with Public Works.
Good. Update on Tacopah Landing project?
There's nothing to update on our end. We provided the updated punch list and so forth as requested by legal. And I do know that there are some invoices that are gonna be revised and resubmitted. As they omitted some change order information and so forth, so we're waiting on those. I received an email today to that effect, so we're waiting on those revised invoices to come in. As soon as I have them in, we'll process them.
Joseph, we just need to get that revised punch list attached to those invoices as well, because the last we saw it was still the old punch list.
Okay, there was a new one that was delivered with those invoices on February 16th. There was a,
Yeah, but we a whole month later, we don't have a new punch list. They are billing 100%. So I would think we need a revised punch list as of March, not February.
we'll provide another one. I mean, typically one punch list is provided for a particular job.
Oh.
And then once the contractor completes the entire punch list, at that point, you would release your
I guess
final
my
retainer.
question is,
I
we
know
need an
there's-
update as to whether the punch list is satisfied, because he has billed 100%.
But they're billing partially to the punch list items. So
That's
we
not,
don't,
that's not the typical way of doing things according to a contract. However, I realize that this project has somewhat gone out of the norm. I still have an inspector going to the site. He was there today. And we spoke to Mr. Diaz. There's some issues with the doors that has to be addressed, and so we're gonna be addressing those. I'll get the punch list updated again.
right, did you review the items included on the invoice to verify that that work had been completed?
Some of that, yes, but if you recall, the letter that I submitted to the jury on the 16th of February did not recommend payment of those invoices because of the outstanding, not only the outstanding punch list items, but as I was aware at the time, there was still things being worked out with the issues with the cap. And I did not recommend payment of those invoices because of the amount of money left in the contract compared to what I was seeing from an engineering standpoint still needed to be completed. You were not being left with enough money if things should go south. So that was my recommendation at the time. I will when those invoices are resubmitted, I'll re-review them again, and then I will issue new recommendations accordingly.
If you recall, you had asked how you should proceed with these
Correct.
whenever you made that recommendation,
Mhm.
right? And you were advised just to review the work as you normally would
Yes.
to determine if the items have been completed or not.
Yes,
That's what we're asking.
and that's what I did when I submitted those invoices on the 16th.
No, your letter said that you didn't know how to proceed with them. You were waiting on direction.
I was waiting on direction I gave you a recommendation that I did not recommend payment, and I was waiting on direction as to whether you wanted to release those funds or whether you wanted to withhold.
Right. I understand your point about whether we pay or not. The question is if the work was complete or not. That's what we're asking.
Yes, some of the work was completed.
That's why we want up to date.
Correct. And we'll update the punch list again. We submitted an updated punch list at February 16th with those invoices. Now we have new revised invoices coming in. We'll evaluate those. We'll also evaluate if any items from that punch list have been done, and we'll revise it as necessary.
Yeah. Mike, you got anything to add? Any other? All right, thanks. Update on courthouse renovation project.
So as you can see, we completed the handrails, put them in place. And Grace Abel has been in contact with me, but we did ask for a complete scope on a cost analysis on what it would cost to actually repair the building. We haven't received any of that yet. We asked for it. They scanned the building. I requested it the other day in a phone call. The exterior portions of the building, some type of cost analysis. I hadn't received it yet. But it did come back and we had a conversation Thursday and they said, construction documents would be 4 weeks, bidding 30 days, contract procurement 10 days, and construction duration 4 months. But that was only the portion of the contract that we were asking for a cost analysis prior to even going out for bidding.
No, that wasn't for the bathroom renovation?
This portion of it was the bathroom renovation, but they still haven't provided us with any type of drawings or specs as we requested. So I will reach out to them tomorrow again and say, we need the specifications for the bathroom renovation. That was the focal point on what we were doing, was the bathrooms first.
Sound like they're trying to improve the whole building.
Correct.
we're supposed to do the bathroom.
We ain't got no money for that right now. So.
That was the target.
hopefully They don't have, they don't go out for no, try to design no
You know,
plans and.
and that's
come
what I
back and
said,
charge
that
us.
we have a
ain't got no money
jury,
for
we
it.
have to present it to them first.
And
before
I
we
think
do
that's
anything.
what Mr. Blankenship is saying is that they're looking to go out for bid and we hadn't even reviewed the plans yet. Or what
We
they're
hadn't
doing.
received any plans or
plans.
specs yet, so we
So we
can't
was
go out for
asking that we
bid.
review that before they say when they're going out for bid.
I have to bring it to you and present it to you before anything can happen.
Yeah, but not just dealing with the bathroom, sound like he's talking about the whole.
No,
that's
whole
correct.
building
So,
too.
so that request came from, a meeting with the judge and the sheriff, and basically what came out of that, we asked the architect to give us a cost estimate to do an evaluation on the building to determine if it's feasible for us to renovate it or replace it.
Right.
I'm with you.
And I think they misunderstood that direction.
Correct.
To
And there was
just go
5 of
ahead
us
and
in there.
start to renovate it without having, what we're asking them to do is to do some investigative work to determine what the bones of the courthouse are like because of the amount of damage that's there. And we need to know if it's salvageable or not.
Correct. Because when I asked, I said, do you have a cost analysis for the exterior of the building? Because that was a portion of it. He said, oh, we just took it upon ourselves. You just
No,
can't do that.
they're gonna have a cost behind it, so.
Their contract isn't for that scope of work.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah, stay on it. Brian.
I'm just
I will.
scared of that, man.
All right, update on Jolly Moore Street Drainage Project. Anybody got anything on Jolly Moore?
There have been some translations between, oh, there you
So on that one, we reviewed the plans and specs. We had a meeting last week with the staff. Had some comments that we sent back and kind of trying to coordinate, with Joseph. So once we get all those updates, I think we're ready to, advertise the project.
And as he said, we received the updates last week. My office is in the process of making some plan revisions, as well as we're looking at some ways to reduce the cost, because right now the estimated cost is plus or minus about $50,000 over the estimated projected original cost. So we're trying to reevaluate some of the stuff, some of the design to help get that cost down. Those plans, I'm gonna talk to my drafting department tomorrow, but we're scheduled to have those back to GIS sometime at the end of next week.
Can you shoot us an update whenever you know when that, when you expect that?
Sure,
After you- after you
As
do
I
it.
said, we received them last week and I
Sure.
checked with drafting today. They are working on them. We do still, like, as I said, I still have to evaluate it from the standpoint of I'm trying to get the cost down, because right now the projected cost in talking with Jacob, we're looking at around 300,000 in construction, and I think that was roughly around 50 more than what was proposed. So he and I had kicked around some ideas. I'm looking at that elevation to see if I could possibly lower it in some areas to get more cover, and then maybe even be able to reduce the size of some of the culverts on the Highway 1 on the higher end where those ditches are quite shallow. That might hopefully will produce some significant cost savings. But yes, we'll keep you updated.
Any questions? All right, next item, request approval of engineering contract for the Bertrandville Drainage Canal Project.
Okay, Joe, only thing we have was an issue with is that the original agreement was for total engineering for 10,000. The last statement will being increased, if the budget is over 100,000. We would hope that you'd be willing to remove that.
Well, that only comes into play if you choose or have additional funds over an abundance of the $100,000 budget set. The reason I placed that in there is, if you recall, we bid this project once already. The landowner had dug the portion while the project was out to bids. I never billed the jury and do not plan on billing the jury for that design. We basically absorbed that cost. I have no problem designing the additional footage out for a budget based on $100,000. But if you so choose and decide that if additional funding is approved and you want to go further, then I should be compensated for that engineering accordingly. So that's why that clause is in there. In other words, if you decide that, hey, I got another $50,000 and I wanna spend $150,000 and go that much further with the canal, then I would request compensation for that additional design.
And
That
I would
makes
think
sense.
at that time, we
Yeah.
could amend the project, we could amend the contract to reflect that if needed.
That's fine. I don't have a problem. If you want, I can change that language to not say, I mean, and that's all it really says is that it can be amended. It can be amended, use the 10% because that's the basis of the fee for that particular contract. And that's in accordance with the state fee curves, for a project of that size.
Agreed, I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
So, however you want to handle it, but I would like to have a clause, there should be a clause in there that, should you all approve a higher budget or approve additional funding for more excavation, then we need to be compensated for that.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll just have to figure, if that does happen, we'll have to figure out where the funding comes from, because
Yeah, but I'm giving you, but I'm telling you that, and look, for what it's worth, I've never nickel and dimed this jury before. If the project comes in at 102,000, I'm not coming look for $200. Okay, I'm saying in an excess. But as it stands right now, the way the scope is written, we intentionally wrote the scope to bid this project in a unit price that once we receive those unit prices, we'll be able to evaluate and tell you, look, we're gonna be able to excavate from point A to point B based on the unit prices received. Do you want to accept these bids or reject these bids?
We'll address it if it happens at that time.
Yes, yeah, you're not held to anything.
If it comes up with it, then we'll address it.
Correct.
Yeah, we got
Even
$50,000.
if the unit, I'll give you a prime example, even if the unit prices, the total of the unit prices, let's use an arbitrary, let's say the unit total comes in at 200,000. You're not obligated to pay me the additional funds unless you decide that, hey, we want to move forward with the $200,000 estimate and additional funding is identified.
Yeah, common sense. Okay, good, thank you. No action. Next item, update on Gerald Street levy project.
No.
Why don't you mean you have a motion to approve, man?
Got a contract.
You got a contract.
Man, that's what I said.
You still have.
All right, press approval of the engineering contract to be signed by the jury president. Motion by Mr. Diaz. Second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Thurn. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now, try to let do your project.
Oh, you know how it go.
All right, update on Gerald Street levy project.
Got anything, Joe?
You ain't got no contract.
I have forwarded all information that I have. We received a request from DNR today. I forwarded that to Mr. Thurn and the administration. As it stands right now, I don't have a contract to continue working on these permits. So I would need direction or purchase order or something from the jury authorizing me to continue. Or you at this point, you can take them over. That's your prerogative.
right, we'll advise you if there's any other action by his office to do it, but the scope of the levies are actually in the scope of DDG for the design. So it's already in their scope.
Right. I don't want to update on it, so what.
I would request if you could, I don't know if it would require a motion by the jury, but have DDG contact us to transfer the professional of record as far as the permits are concerned, if that's the route you're going to take.
Right, so that was actually done in January.
Okay.
So we did that in the January meeting.
Well, then I just simply need DDG to reach out to us so that we can put them in touch with the DNR
Okay.
applicants, and then they can make an official change of record on that permit
Okay.
application.
I'll notify him.
Update on ring levers in Fairport Bell River.
This project is in the same state. I forwarded the request for information that I received, I want to say it was maybe yesterday or day before. I forwarded it to Mr. Ponville as well as the administration.
Gonna move forward with this project we're gonna get with a different engineer and move forward with this project.
You gonna work on it?
Yes. Working on it now.
Next item, update on Lee Drive project.
Gotta identify a funding source too, right? Now you're starting all over again.
It'll be all right.
Update on Lee Drive project.
There's really not much to update at this time. Spoke to the contractor. There are the outstanding driveways that he needs to address. However, we did speak with him and he is preparing to go ahead and do those driveways when he mobilized closer to that area. As I told you, that would be in about 3 weeks. So as it stands, that's the outstanding item that needs to be done there. And then once he does those, we'll walk the project again to see if there's any other outstanding punch list items. I know that there was some concerns about some of the repairs he did. We're monitoring and checking those and we'll address them at that time.
We're still holding money on that project.
Yes, sir.
Did, you ever email the Jerry the core sample results?
Yes.
Still didn't get them. Can you,
I'll send them again.
you
I'll
said-
send them to you directly.
can I pick them up from your office?
All right, next item, update on Shell Beach boat landing.
We don't have any update.
Ms.
on
Red, you wanna, we're waiting on the title opinion for the property so we can move forward with the purchase.
All right,
Yeah.
all right, any other items?
Motion adjourned.
Motion adjourned by Mr. Diaz, second by Mr. Bro, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Right on time.
All right, we'll call to order the 6 o'clock meeting of the Central Parish Police Jury for Wednesday, March 13th, 2024. Let the record reflect all jurors are present. Please rise for our prayer and pledge. God, who teaches us by sending the light of the Holy Spirit into our hearts, grant that by the light of that Spirit, right judgment may be ours, and that we may ever find joy in his guidance. Amen.
Pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The third item, request approval of minutes of February 27th, 2024.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Alcorn, second by Mr. Bro. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment period. We're gonna accept public comment for any item on the agenda. Second call. Last call. Let the record reflect no public comment. Announcement of public meetings for a special election to authorize a renewal of an ad valorem tax therein for the Council on Aging.
Yes, the new law requires that we read this announcement prior to the public meeting. Notice is hereby given that at its meeting to be held on Wednesday, April 10th, 2024 at 6 o'clock PM at its regular meeting place, the Police Jury Meeting Room, Administrative Office, 4813 Highway 1, Napoleonville, Louisiana. The Police Jury of the Parish of Assumption, State of Louisiana, plans to consider adopting a resolution ordering and calling a special election to be held in the Parish of Assumption, State of Louisiana, to authorize the renewal of an ad valorem tax therein for the Council on Aging.
Not a more jumbo for a renew.
Is that?
It's a renew. Yeah.
No action, just a formal announcement. Next item, Drainage Committee report. Chairman Ponville.
Yes, sir. The Drainage Committee meeting was held this afternoon at 4:50. All members were present. We had 2 items. First item, we discussed the catch basin at 125 Pecan Drive. Mr. LeBlanc is gonna check that out for Mr. Bro. And second item, we discussed drainage down by Tranquil. No action was taken there. Present this all in form of a motion.
Motion by Mr. Ponville. Second by Mr. Bro. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Finance Committee report. Finance Committee met at 5 o'clock. We approve to pay the list of bills submitted through March eighth, 2024. We approve the amended engagement letter with Eisner Ampner LLP for audit services for 2023. We approve the purchase of a ULV mosquito sprayer, an amount of $20,000, and we approve the purchase of a new engine for the backup ULV mosquito sprayer, an amount of $1,000. We had one deviation to split the invoice for the election for the Pierpont Bell River Consolidated Drainage District between the Ward 7, 8, and 9 drainage allocations.
Motion to accept your report.
Motion by Mr. Alcorn to accept, second by Mr. Nakane. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Personnel Committee, update, Chairman Diaz.
Personnel Committee met at 5:10. All members were present. Two items, we approved Mr. Paul LeBlanc as our new OEP Director, starting May 1st. And we approved to advertise for Parish Manager. I present this all in the form of a motion.
Motion by Mr. Diaz,
Second.
second by Mr. Mathern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Road and Bridge Committee report, Chairman Alcorn.
Yeah, the Road and Bridge Committee met this afternoon at 5:20. All members were present, 3 items on the agenda. We received an update on the road overlay program by CJ Savoy. We also approved the quantity and placement of speed bumps for May Street in Ward 1 and Rudy Boville, Ward 1. And we tabled the Lakeview Street in Ward 9 until further notice from Gerard Mathern. Item number 3, we also approved application, quantity, and placement of speed bumps for Pine Street in Ward 4 and LeBeau Street in Ward 1. I give you these items in the form of a motion.
Motion by Mr. Alcorn,
Second.
second by Mr. Diaz. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Engineering Grants Committee report, Chairman Nakane.
Yes, Engineering Grants Committee met, all members were present. First item, we had an update on status and funding sources, by GIS Engineering. We had an update from our grants coordinator, Ms. Rayetta Crochet. We approved the, president to sign the, document, ratify the, Platteville drainage plan, I guess, for the sale, correct? And, next item, we request approval to set the president to sign the CA with Central Parish Volunteer Fire Departments for the issuance of state homeland security programs, grant funding equipment. Next item, we request plan specifications for the Bell Road Drainage Project for Mr. Savoy. We had updates on the Ag Center project, Tacopah Landing, Courthouse renovation, Jordan Moore Street drainage project. We approve engineering contract for the Bertramville Drainage Canal Project, Savoy Engineering. We had a discussion on Gerald Street Levy Project and also on ring levees at the Fairport. We had update on Lee Drive Project and update on Shell Beach boat landing. Did I miss anything?
No.
Good. Request, update from the grants coordinator, also have request approval to begin the process for the property acquisition for the Euro Virginia Street. And that's all in the form of a motion, President.
Motion by Mr. Nakane, second by Mr. Carter. All in favor? Opposed?
Aye, just to number 9, for the approval of the engineering contract with Savoy.
Motion carried. Request approval to reappoint Jeremy Pipsair and Jenny Saint Germain to the Pierpont Bell River Recreation District Number 2 for each a 5-year term.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Mathern,
Second.
second by Mr. Diaz. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval to send letter of support for Community Benefits Fund for RPS Expansion LLC. Letter was included in your packet.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Nakane, second by Mr. Alcorn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Consider and authorize representatives from Assumption Parish to participate in a Chafalaya Basin Levee Trail feasibility study. So, I was approached by, Ms. Beryl Gomez, who, she was actually approached by, the members of the Atchafalaya Basin Levee Trail, committee. They're looking at putting in basically a recreational trail along the levee, and, asked her to be part of the committee. And she just asked if the parish would consider authorizing her as a representative of the parish to participate in that
Motion for
committee.
that.
The motion by Mr. Mathern,
Second.
second by Mr. Bro. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Review occupational license tax ordinance, subchapter A, section 13-1. So, I put this on the agenda. We, we discussed that, any vendor wanting to do with the parish had to have an occupational license, based on the ordinance. And after speaking to a few business owners in the parish and some from out of the parish, they were questioning why we had to do that. And, there are some vendors that have not been able to do business with the parish because they don't have an occupational license. So basically right now, what it's saying is anybody that wants to sell something in Assumption Parish or provide a service in Assumption Parish needs to have an occupational license. The state law allows you to do that. The question I'd like the jury to consider is, do we want to limit that to businesses that are domiciled in the parish, and other businesses outside the parish that want to come do work in the parish or sell a vehicle in the parish? I don't really see the need to have them have an occupational license to come into the parish to do work. So the way that the licenses work, the fees are set on the funds that are generated by that business within that parish. But from speaking to the businesses, most of them just put all of their revenue on their Assumption Parish occupational tax, and they don't pay any occupational license in any other parishes. So what I'd like to do is maybe explore this with the Chamber of Commerce, get some more business input to make sure that if we, that we can, if we make a modification to this ordinance, that it's in an effort to promote more business in the parish, not to run businesses out of the parish.
I agree.
So I'll be setting up a meeting with the chamber to discuss that.
So you need a motion on that or?
No, just for information, I'm just letting you know that we're gonna bring some
Right.
proposed modifications to the
Right.
ordinance for consideration of the jury.
Just for a statement for you all to consider when you're exploring these options, that if you want to restrict it to businesses domiciled in the parish, then you're basically going to be taxing businesses within the parish, but those outside of the parish can come in and take the businesses from those businesses with no fee. So just keep that in mind. It's different. There's both two sides of the coin to look at.
Right, no action at this time. Discuss Waste Pro garbage collection, Ms. Mathern.
Yes, I put it on the agenda. I got, the end of James Street, doesn't have a proper turnaround at the end of James Street. I'm requesting a letter to the owners of the property. They can put their garbage can on one side of the street, and let the garbage truck it back up down the street, pick up the garbage and leave out of it, instead of go back and forth twice down that street. I'm just asking for a letter to, the end of James Street.
All right, so we have a motion by Mr. Mathern.
I'll second it. About how many households?
About like 4 or 5,
Oh, that's it? Okay.
yeah. But you
Still
got,
gotta get together to be out on.
yeah,
Turn it around.
just put all one
Couldn't
side
do
of the
that,
street.
Mark?
Huh?
You couldn't do that?
So the motion by Mr. Mathern.
Yeah, how about it's in your ward?
Second by Mr. Nakam. All in favor?
How about it's in your ward?
Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval to adopt ordinance 24-04 to levy grass cutting charges totaling $1,249.83.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Alcorn,
Second?
second by Mr. Nakam. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval of an occupational license for a complete network solution, complete network management, HOMA, Harris's Pest Control, Morgan City, Cajun Snowballs, Napoleonville, Triple B Construction and Fence Company, Vacherie, L&H Printing Company, Morgan City, Southland Steel and Reach Rods, LLC, Homa, W&R LLC, Napoleonville, MC Electric LLC, Amelia, A-Bears Home Renovations, Morgan City, and C&J Lawn Service, Labderville.
All look good to me. Come on.
Motion by Mr. Nakam, second by Mr. Alcorn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval of the following liquor license application. Chelsea Rodrigue, 178 Highway 1012, Napoleonville, Louisiana. Doing business as Cookies Thrift Store, Jambalaya Fundraiser Cook-Off, Ward 2, American Legion. Motion by Mr. Pondville, second by Mr. Satterwhite. Oh, sorry, Mr. Bro. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Motion to adjourn by Mr. Alcorn,
Second.
second by Mr. Mathern. All in favor? Opposed? Meeting adjourned.